Assalamu alaikum, this is Khalid and you're watching the 13th episode of Arab Guy on Battle Spot, where I go battling on the battle spot with my commentary. Yesterday we had some fun with the Among Us, so we'll have some fun today, but not necessarily with the Among Us. So let's jump in. My rating is at 1602. I lost a bit. I have a very nasty weakness to Verizon and Breloom for some reason, so I need to switch some things around. So from the United States Quran, I hope I read that right, 1622. It looks like a Gardevoir with rain. He has Gardevoir, Egg/, Landorus, Among Us, Politoed, and what's his name? Kingdra. Mirotic Landorus seems like a nice lead here. Or maybe even Mirotic Tyranitar. Yeah, let's go with Mirotic Tyranitar. Or we'll keep Mirotic, Tyranitar in the back. But Landorus. Do we need the Among Us? I feel maybe we don't need him. Tyranitar and Gardevoir. Well, actually, maybe we don't need the Tyranitar after all. I think Among Us would be good here. Now if he leads with the rain, I have no good switch-ins if he decides to go for the double ice beam onto Landorus or something. Let's go ahead with it. I don't think he'll lead with Politoed. So let's see what our opponent brings. I think his connection isn't that good, so we might see the battle lagging a bit. So there we see Among Us Gardevoir. Okay, please trace the Intimidate. That would be fantastic. Trace. Competitive. Okay. Let's see here. He could go for the Trick Room. If he does, Icy Wind would be a bad idea. But at the same time, I think if I go for Icy Wind and go for the Rock Slide, that seems nice. Or actually, I know what to do. I'll Protect and go for the Earthquake. Choice Band Earthquake is really strong. So even if I lose my Landorus, at least it will do something massive here. Gardevoir uses Protect. That's fine. Mirotic uses Protect. So let's see what his Among Us goes for. Probably the Spore onto the Landorus. We do lots of damage on that. And he puts my poor Landorus to sleep. I think we're kind of safe here, so I'll just use Icy Wind and spend the turn sleeping. Yeah, I think I'll spend the turn sleeping. Landos is fast asleep. Gardevoir is on call. Okay! That was unexpected. Okay, I was expecting a switch. So that makes things interesting. I could protect again, hoping he would go for that. Hoping Landros would wake up. So let's do that. Mungo switches out, and he brings in Landros. Okay. Boosting my Mirata. That's fine. That's definitely fine. Landros wakes up and hitting that Gardevoir for really good damage. And he hits me with the Hyper Voice, doing good damage to my Landorus. So here I'll protect. I can only protect here. Yeah, I guess I'll just protect. Just go with it. I could bring in my Gardevoir, hoping he would. No way, that's a bad idea. I want to hope for the double protect. This is putting me in a very awkward position. I don't mind if I lose my Landorus. Okay, he protects. Okay, we went for the double protect. That's kind of a... Thank God for that protect. Wow. Let's see here. So we both lost our Landorus, but my entire team is at full HP. So there's a difference there. Let's see here. I could bring Gardevoir. I could bring Amoonguss. I think I'll bring Amoonguss. He'll probably bring his Amoonguss. Yeah. I could go and hope for the triple protect. He already protected on his turn, so it's kind of safe for me to go for that spore onto his Gardevoir. But he could go for the Psychic onto the Amoonguss. So here I want, if he doesn't go for that, I want to punish him for that. And I'll spore his Gardevoir. And he goes for... he protects. He could have just went for the Encore. And he goes for Spore onto the Milotic. That's fine, I suppose. Guess I'll just Icy Wind. And Giga Drain his... I guess Icy Wind will take out the Gardevoir, so I'll just Giga Drain his Amoonguss just for that extra damage. Milotic's fast asleep, so Milotic is the fastest thing right now. then his Gardevoir, then my Amoonguss, then his Amoonguss. Just doing a bit of damage. Critical hit. And he goes for Giga Drain onto my Amoonguss, which is fine, because it activates the Maranga Berry. Keep going for it. You know, I could have switched out the Amoonguss in the last turn and bring in my Gardevoir. I think that might be the play right now. I wish I thought about it earlier. I'll Icy Wind once again and switch out into my Gardevoir. This Gardevoir is definitely slower than mine, so okay, switches out his Gardevoir, which is fine. Brings in his Politoed. I wish I kept my Amoonguss in, but this is fine. This is kind of fine. Okay, he was predicting the wake up. So here I will Icy Wind once again. Mega Evolve and Hyper Voice. That should be very safe for me. Unless that Politoed is timid max speed specs or something with Hydro Pump, which could knock out my Gardevoir. But that is probably the worst case scenario. So Icy Wind and Hyper Voice. So that's Citrus Berry, I guess, which is fine. He is Scald onto the Gardevoir, probably doing good damage and sporing. Why does he keep sporing that spot? Is he really that afraid of my Milotic? Fine, have an Icy Wind. Amoonguss protects, which is fine. If his Scald... Okay, Milotic wakes up, goes for the Icy Wind, probably not taking up the Politoed, but does decent damage and slows it down, which isn't important, I suppose. We stay alive, no burn, and everything is good for us. There's no way he can win. Politoed protects, fine. He's just delaying the inevitable. Amoonguss just barely survives, but will go down to Icy Wind. Now I think his Gardevoir is probably... No wait, it's asleep, it doesn't matter. Though it could wake up at this turn. So Icy Wind and Protect. That seems like a nice idea. And that won't take up the Milotic for sure. It wakes up. Goes for that voice, unless it's a crit. If it's a crit, my Milotic will go down. Yeah, It's not going down, but it would avoid. The guard wall goes down with a critical hit. I could have went for this card just to guarantee the knockout, but I'm not sure if his Gardevoir is faster than mine, so I had to take the risk and slow him down. We can just Scald and Hyper Voice, or he will forfeit. Either way is the same, and the match is forfeit. A nice game. We've had some fun exchanges there. Just thinking about the match, we didn't get to see that King Draw, which is kind of always cool to see, but it's very understandable when it's going up against the Gardevoir. It has no chance of surviving a Hyper Voice. So from Japan, 1756, a very much higher rated opponent. So this is going to be interesting. Looks like Trick Room, but Breloom. I hate Breloom. My team is weak to grass fighting types. This is going to be rough. But I think we can handle it somehow. I'll go with Heatran Milotic. That seems nice here. And Landorus. No, Landorus. He might have Trick Room. Among Us and Gardevoir. Just thinking about it, I do need a way to intimidate those things. Now let's see here, what's not important here. Do we need the Heatran? We kind of do. Among Us is great if he's going to set up the Trick Room. My Gardevoir. Actually, my Gardevoir isn't great here. So I think I'll go with the Landorus. No Gardevoir this round. If we see the Among Us, if we see his Azumarill, I'll definitely make the switch and bring in the Among Us. Okay. Switching out into Among Us and going for the Scald onto the Cresselia. Hopefully burning it. Doing some good damage over time. I don't think the Azumarill can do much good damage against my Milotic. Unless it goes for Belly Drum. If he Belly Drums, I think we're done for. I didn't think about it. Goes for Psychic onto the Milotic, which is perfect. And he goes for Knockoff. Too late. We spore that, and we will recover. That Emerald is probably going to protect. So spawning it seems like a good idea in case he doesn't go for it. Okay, he switches out, so whatever's coming in is going to get sport, unless that's Breloom. Heatran, that's fine. Unless it's safety goggles. I mean, with the bold prediction like that, it could be... Okay, Antamungus, that's fine. Now let's see what's that... Yeah, goggles. I'm going to bring in my Heatran. His Heatran is probably going to protect, so I'll just scald his Cresselia. Actually, if he's... I'm predicting a protect. So I would spore his Cresselia. No wait, his Psychic did half the HP. So staying in is a bad idea, so I'll have to switch out to Heatran. And scald the Cresselia. He switches out his thing, brings in his Emerald, which is fine. Though I wish I brought in Pandoras instead. Okay, we get the burn. We'll protect, and at the same time we will scald that Azimaro. Now let's see what he goes for there. We go for the scald. Do we get the burn? He goes for the flare up onto the Milotic. Does quite a lot. And he sets up Trick Room, which is perfect for me. This is a quiet minimum speed Heatran, so it should be slower than 31 IV speed Azimaro with a neutral speed nature. So I will set up this substitute and oh wait, he's definitely going to attack my Milotic, so I'm going to recover here. He goes for the helping hand, and he goes for the player up. That's unfortunate, but at least I get to substitute and bring in my Among Us safely. Well, this is kind of awkward for me. I guess I could have went for the protect. He goes for the Aqua Jet onto the Heatran. Okay, just doing some damage just before he goes to sleep, which is fine. So we're free to Heat Wave and Giga Drain everything. That Psychic is doing lots of damage. Gets a special defense drop. I'll Heat Wave again and bring in my... Should I? I haven't been counting the number of turns we've went through in Trick Room, so I'm not entirely sure. I could go for another Heat Wave and Protect. That seems safe. What? Oh, forgot he has heat time. Well, at least that Mawile is going down for sure. Unless we get a miss. Well, at least we know he has safety goggles, so we're free to just knock him out with our own Earth Power. So there's that Azimural once again. We'll Earth Power that Heatran, and Giga Drain is Azimural. I'm not sure if he realized my Heatran is quite minimum speed, so we should be good here. Okay, he doesn't protect, so we're in a very good position. And has Azimural asleep, and maybe we're speed tight. Okay, never mind. And his Heatran goes down. This is why I like semi-Trick Room teams. When people come in with their own Trick Room teams, you already have ways to deal with it, because you're already a Trick Room. You're already running a Trick Room team. Heat Wave and well, he could go for an Aqua Jet. Well, we'll go for it anyway. Okay, goes for the Psychic. That's fine. Our Landorus is going to take care of everything for sure. If it comes down to it, that is. He wakes up, goes for Waterfall. That is fine. That is absolutely fine. Oh, our last opponent, Kuroan, just sent me a message on Twitter saying, GG, my RNG is shit. I usually don't swear, but that's the message he sent me. Well, it was a good game, either way. That's how best of ones work, so that's unfortunate. And we take out the Azimural. Doesn't matter. Even if he went for... well, I guess the only way he could win is a crit Aqua Jet. So, good games for today. We had some fun today. I also had some fun yesterday with with the friendly against Mexico. I won my game. My friend and teammate won. Khalifa bin Sabeh, he won his game, and unfortunately the 3 other guys lost their games. But it was fun, and I'm sure for our local players, I'm sure it's a good learning experience battling international players in a best of 3 environment. So hopefully we'll do more of those. The videos should be up sometime soon. I believe one YouTuber from Mexico, he's going to upload it. I will share them once they're up. You can see my games. My first round I did terribly, and in the second and third rounds I did weirdly, but I still won somehow, so I'm grateful for that. The RNG was kind of in my favor in both games, so it kind of worked out for me, thankfully. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. Bye.